Good afternoon and welcome to our webinar today on Bulletproof SEO. I'm Chad Hill and I'm joined by Adam Stetzer.
Hey everybody, great to be with you. I'm here in the Rochester office, joined by the account management staff. Say hello everybody.
Hello everybody.
Should be a good one today, Chad.
Well, the agenda for today is that we wanted to sort of check in on where we are with the new SEO programs that we rolled out earlier this month. We wanted to walk through and make sure everyone was up to speed on the new plans, where you can find pricing, and then get into some of the nuts and bolts of the work that we've been doing this month on the new news stories that are a part of these programs.
Hey Chad, we're not seeing your screen if that's what you're intending.
Sorry about that, Adam. Let's try that again.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we started rolling out these plans on February 1st, and again, just for the people who missed our last webinar, it's a rolling rollout, which means that the new task template of these new plans would go into effect on the anniversary of your SOW sign-off date. So in our system, we have something that basically records when you sign off on your SOW, and that's when the new tasks get built every month. So if you sign off middle of the month, your new task would have started being built on the 15th of this month. So that's been rolling out over the course of this month. We have a number of new activities. We have a new press release outreach program that we rolled out along with our business quote. And then we also have some new content types like our featured news story, and we wanted to share some of those things that we've been working on this month. Now, all of the new pricing is on the website. It's also inside the dashboard and also part of the proposal program. You can also download our standard Word document or PDF document that has it nicely formatted for printing purposes on our support page. So on our website, hubshout.com, under resources, we now have the support page there. You do have to log in, but you'll see this nice little pop-up here that will tell you to go download it, and you can also watch the webinar that we recorded on the new pricing plans back in January. We're going to jump right into some of the new content types and talk about some of the placements we've been getting this month so far. So this first one, we wanted to talk about featured news. Now, just to recap what a featured news story is that we've been doing some national advertising and also recruiting, looking for web publishers who would be interested in having timely and relevant news on their website. And then what we're doing is we're seeking linkable assets that our clients have, and in many cases able to connect the two together. So in this particular example, there was an article that we wrote on rockville.com, which is a domain authority 42 website, so a very good website, where it covers local Rochester news, and there was an article about how Jill Biden and Joe Biden were going to be involved in some economic development discussions in the area. And we were able to actually link or reference another client who, one of the parts here was about small businesses and the importance of small business in revitalizing, developing economic growth. We were able to reference stats that we were able to reference a stat about the average length of a small business and kind of some other small business stats. So it was a really high quality piece. We were able to get published on rockville.com, very good website, and we were able to reference some stats from one of our partners. So Adam, I don't know if you want to talk any more about that or any questions that might be coming up.
Yeah, well, I think it's excellent. I mean, this is one of the most PR-oriented activities we've done, and the first month's been going very well. This is a great example. I know this site has 4,000 subscribers in the Rochester area. It's well read by a certain audience, and so they were covering this. And so as Chad said, because we had a client who had a linkable asset and some research and statistics that fit into the story that we wanted to run here, we were able to work it in just like PR people get those placements. This is a great placement, and so I'm excited to be offering this today. I think it's a whole new level of exposure and PR and citation that we're doing and reaching a whole different level of audience than we ever have before, Chad. So I'm pretty excited, and I think that people who have seen these roll through have been pretty positive as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And just again on the side, there's of course these are available in the new pricing programs we run out, or the new SEO programs we rolled out in the beginning of February. This does require Premium Writer, and the reason it requires Premium Writer is because there's a lot more. There's a much higher standard that our publishing partners are expecting, and so we need to put the best of the best on these stories, give them the time they need to really write the story that our publishing partner is looking for. And on top of that, we actually have several team members who now are coordinating the relationships. We're calling them publishing coordinators, but they coordinate the relationships with these publishing partners. And so really that extra time and effort, well, it takes more time and effort, and we have to have the premium writer program in place to make that happen. Now, in terms of our recruitment, we're continuing our recruitment of our publishing partners, and we've been able to identify a lot of different interesting businesses. In this case, this was more of a publication that covers the Rochester market. But we've also found some category-specific publishing partners who have very nice websites and great content in different niches, and we're going to continue to build out those relationships. We think we've been really getting really good feedback, and you know that it's working well when people are referring. Some of the publishing partners we're working with are actually referring us to other people that they work with that they know would also benefit from this program. So it's been a pretty solid first month working on this. The next type of news story that we've been rolling out is our business quote. So this is a little different because in this case we actually are calling to get a quote from your end customer and working that quote into the story. So we have, in this case, I think a lot of people have probably seen this one, but we have a website, worldnewsstand.com, who is interested in information. In this particular case, we were writing a story about Flappy Bird and the extremely unexpected and outrageous success of Flappy Bird, the mobile app. And basically, we were able to contact, in this case, one of our resellers actually, and talk about what is it in this case. When working on a mobile app, it's critical to have something unique that you can't find anywhere else. And said Internet marketing expert X, it seems that Flappy Bird played on nostalgia, and they definitely got people talking. So we were able to write that article and then get a quote from one of our customers and then work that into the story. Again, just as Adam said, this is something that happens all the time in PR. You want to work in quotes from experts in that particular industry. And so again, this is something that requires Premium Writer, and this also requires another new feature, which is the ability for us to actually do outreach to your customer, which we're going to talk more about in a minute, and how this is some of our testing and how this is working so far. But we're able to contact the end customer in a white labeled way and ask them for a quote for a story that we're working on. So again, this is new, requires Premium Writer, and this is something that, the feedback we've been getting so far has been that it's been excellent. People are really happy with what we're doing here. Adam, do you want to add anything? Because I know, again, you've been working very closely with the team on this as well.
Sure. Well, I think first from the product standpoint, I think this is a tremendous retention tool because we're offering the ability to call your end client, again, under your name from your press department and get them quoted in stories that they will have heard of. These are headline news type stories. They're on the news. They're on CNN. They're in the New York Times. And we're getting them quoted, and so they'll really appreciate, you're finding some press for me, and you're getting me into that news cycle. That's good PR by itself, but the fact that we're calling them is taking work off of your plate, something you might have had to do yourself or maybe wasn't getting done. So I think this will really help them feel in a much more tangible way their involvement in the PR side of SEO. And I also know that the quotes we've been getting and the publication through our partnerships that we've been finding are also really good. The sites have been very strong. The audience is very good. I know the reseller who donated this example is on with us today, and he just chimed in the chat saying he showed it to his wife, and she thought it was really cool. We did too. We've been showing it to everybody. It's really cool. So because these are the things that people are talking about in the news. So the more we can get your clients into that news cycle, it's an outstanding branded mention. they're participating in the process. It's just good from every angle, whether it's PR, whether it's customer retention, or whether it's SEO and citation and brand building. So yeah, we're really, really excited. And I know Chad's going to talk a little bit more about the process. I know there are still concerns about how we do it. We want to make sure you're all 100% comfortable. But I really think everyone should be participating in this.
And that does lead us on to the press release. So the press release, we have a new method now that where we're contacting the end customer with your permission with a white labeled script. Again, that script is available on our resources, on our support page. So if you go resources support, as requested by many of you, we've posted the script so you get a sense, and it's a very detailed script, and our team has role-played this extensively. And so far, we've had good feedback on the interactions that we've had, and we've been able to collect the information we need. But all calls actually will be recorded, and we use a controlled caller ID. That does require a premium writer and an opt-in to our publishing coordinator outreach. And as I said, the script is available on the Hubshout support page. I want to flip the slide because I want to show you how we're controlling the outbound communication. So we actually upgraded our phone system, and we created a dedicated PBX, or essentially a whole separate little phone system that's completely separate from the rest of our phone system. And it has some really cool features. So it hooks in with our software. And what it does is, you can see, it's probably a little hard to see, but on the right-hand side, when our publishing coordinator gets ready to make the outbound call, they see this screen that pops up and tells them who they should be using and referencing on the phone call. So you can see here that it says we've got an outbound call, and it says white label identity. You can see where it says, basically we've kind of blurred it out because we didn't want to have that name, but right next to white label identity would be the name of the reseller that they're calling on behalf of, and it would also have their contact name as well. So essentially it would have the reseller, and it would have the first name and the last name. And so they would be able to say, hi, this is Chad calling with reseller. This is Chad. I'm calling with reseller. We work with Chris, Bob, John, whatever, and we're on the phone today to answer some questions for your scheduled press release this month. So again, the full layout of this script is available on our website, so you can kind of see the flow that goes through. Now, a couple other things that people have talked about in terms of making sure that we don't accidentally get confused and mention Hubshout or have someone call in and get to the wrong voicemail address. A few other things I wanted to mention is that when we call, again, in our system, we know through the private labeling, we know that a user belongs to a certain reseller master. So when we make an attempt to call a user for these press release outreach or the business quote outreach, again, we're able to tell our agent, use this branding, so there'll never be any confusion, or I forgot and I actually mentioned this reseller instead of that reseller. It'll always be right in front of them right here. The other thing you'll see here is it says callback number. Now, currently, everyone has the same callback number, so all of the phone calls are made from, actually in this case, 888-555-1142. But what we're looking at doing in the very near future is offering the ability to actually have a callback number that would be localized. That was a feature that many people talked about. So we haven't built that yet, but we've got this pretty much ready to roll once we can get to that next round of development that's on our list, where we would actually be able to start offering a callback number that's unique to each reseller. And some people said, hey, I really would prefer it if that number was local to my area code. I don't want an 800 number. I want a 703 number because I'm in Northern Virginia, or whatever it might be. You would have the ability to make that choice. Now, on the return phone call, this is another thing that is a little tricky. You get a phone call, if you're making 10 outbound phone calls, when someone calls back in, they're like, hi, I'm calling you back about the press release. Well, that's a little tricky. So what the system does is it actually looks up the person doing the inbound and actually brings that task back, so we're able to get very quickly back to the exact place we need to be, so that we can, again, be ready to take either the business quote if we're calling on a business quote, or to be able to handle the press release questionnaire to get the information that we need. Adam, do you have anything you want to add to that? Because again, I know you've been working very closely with our publishing coordinators on this process. How has it been going?
Yeah, for this first month, I've been sitting in on the majority of the calls, and they've been going very well. I mean, the biggest issue is, as everyone on the phone knows, is getting in touch with these guys. These are small business owners, and so they're very busy. So we're making our 3 attempts. We do give up after 3 attempts. We painfully document those in the task. You can see what we're doing. But once we get them, it just flies right through for the most part. Hi, we're from the press team at ABC Agency. Joe told us to give you a call. One tip would be, in the kickoff call with your client when you're closing the deal and getting it going, mention to them, my press team's going to be calling you, probably in a week to 2 weeks to do the press release, and then they'll call probably a week after that to get a business quote. If they're prepped for that, it's even easier. Oh yeah, I knew you guys were calling. But even when it's not, they know they bought this stuff, and so they're excited to do it. Getting the information for the press release gone very well. We've got a full script, as Chad said. You can see in our support site. It's got to have 35 questions we can roll down if they can't think of anything that's newsworthy. And then the business quotes are really easy to facilitate because, again, they're about a topic that's in the news that most people have heard of. And, of course, if they don't want to be quoted, they don't have to either. They can just decline. But that's only happened once so far. Most people are very happy to have their name out there. So, again, we're really excited about these new PR outreach types and what it's doing for their branding, branded mentions, getting them into the press cycle, your retention, and where we can, get a backlink.
And actually, we've been so kind of excited about how this press release process has been going and the information we've been collecting that we wanted to offer. We're working on the next enhancement on the press release side is actually partnering up with PR Web so that we can offer an enhanced press release syndication. So currently, for those of many of you probably know, we currently take every press release and we put it on pr.com, prlog.com, and freepressrelease.com. And some of these allow us to have to get backlinks to the client or links to the client. Some don't. And actually, I think PRLog lets you have a link, but it's a no-follow link. So, and the distribution of those press releases it could certainly be better. So what we want to do is we want to actually go out, and we're essentially in the final throes of working on this deal. We want to be able to allow you to take that press release that we just spent a lot of time and effort getting a very good interview with the client and then writing a very good press release. We want to broadcast that as broadly as we can. And so we're looking at offering a PR Web syndication that normally would retail, if you go on their website and you look at their advanced press release program, it's like something like $249. We're working on trying to get that down to a fraction of that cost. We're hoping we can get that down in the range of around $50 or so. Now we're working on that, and that's not a done deal. So it's always risky, of course, to mention that, but we're very close to making that happen. Now that will be an extra program that you'll have to add on to the plan today, but you can kind of tell this is, if you look at the PR Web pricing, this is going to be an awesome deal for everyone to be able to offer that to their client.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this too, Chad. I know we got quite a value proposition here, and it is a great deal. We've also piloted it. We use it on ourselves. We know some of our large resellers have used this, and we've seen the data. It really helps. We know there are branded signals out there in the algorithm, and it generates leads just from high-quality press releases straight up. So, it helps get you those extra couple leads that make that campaign work. It's good for the SEO. It's good for branded mentions. I mean, there's really no reason not to do this. It should be a part of every marketing campaign.
Okay, so we have a relatively short webinar today, but we wanted to talk a little bit about a contest that we've worked out with Google. So on the AdWords side, we work pretty closely with the Google agency team to help us make sure that we're capturing as much value from AdWords as possible. And Google actually wants to create a program to try to encourage all of you to sell more AdWords. So, surprise, surprise, right? They want more AdWords sales. But it's a pretty good deal. So if you have some potential clients out there that have been thinking about doing AdWords, you could get some really good stuff here. So basically what we're looking at is a contest where basically we're finalizing the deal with them. So we'll send out a final email and get you guys to know all the deal, all the specifics. But I think it's going to be something like if you bring in 2 new AdWords customers in the month of March, you're going to be eligible for one of the gifts there, a Nexus 7, a Nexus 4 phone, or a Chromebook. So we're working on exactly what the tiers are. So essentially, if you bring 2, you might get one of the lower value ones. If you bring 4, you get something higher value. We're trying to put all that together, but that will be something that is available to all of you, completely different than the new SEO plans, but something exciting nonetheless. And again, we've talked about this before, that SEO is very complementary to AdWords, very complementary to email. So the more programs and engagements you have with a client, the better. Adam, that's all we have today. Are there any questions? Probably a lot of questions out there. Not sure where we are on that, but any questions people have out there?
Yeah, I've been answering quite a few as you go, but I have one that I think other people might be wondering about too. Backing up to the white labeled outreach or business quote and press release, the question was, where can I find the ongoing status of these calls, these outreach attempts that are made each month? Are they in tasks? Because sometimes I find it a little hard to navigate the tasks and find them for each client.
Right, they are in tasks, and they are actually, there's a specific task type called press releases, and we have a 4 o'clock training session. If anyone has any trouble and needs help finding those, I think it would probably take 4 or 5 minutes to show you how to do it. And actually, we could also see if we could get Akil and Adam to put together a video for that we could post in our support page, and maybe a quick help doc if you don't want to watch the video, to take you through the steps to make that happen. But they are all in tasks.
Right. So if you go into one of those tasks, if you, again, come to the 4 o'clock training that happens every day, and we'll walk you through it. But you can, once you learn those filters, it gets pretty easy to find this stuff. You choose press release, for example, or business quote. You see the task for the specific client. You put in that filter. You'll see whatever it is, 1 or 2 of them for this month. You click into it. You'll see the notes from the publishing coordinator going down the list. Made an attempt to call. We usually wait 2 days before calling again. Made another attempt. You'll also see the system logging outbound call made to, and you'll see the phone number that was called to. And then once our outbound recording comes online, that's exactly where you'll find the link to actually hear the entire session in a recorded WAV file once we get that feature launched a little later. Chad, let me see here. There's a couple others coming in. Someone suggested, maybe you should consider more than 3 times for the outbound attempt. We appreciate that feedback. This is what we're starting with, but we'll monitor it. So far, our success rate's been pretty good, but we'll definitely keep an eye on it. And I think I probably answered most of the others. Chad, of course, this one always comes in. Are we recording this session because I missed the beginning?
Yes, this will be posted on, again, under resources, under webinars. We'll post this up. It should go up by tomorrow morning.
Okay, a couple others for you. How do we? Can you cover again how to get into the 4 o'clock training?
Yeah, sure. Let me actually take you over to that. So on our website, if you go to Resources Support, now if you are not logged in, I'm currently logged into the website, it will ask you to log in. Your username and password is the username and password you use to log in to your dashboard. So if your private label dashboard, that username and password will work here to log in. Once you log in, we have on the left-hand side here, a Register Now button. And this is always going to take you to the next 4 o'clock training session. So right now, if I click this, it will take me to register for the training session that's starting today, 4 o'clock. If I click it tomorrow or at 5 o'clock, it'll be for the next day. So feel free to come in and register. And again, the main reason you register here is just that way there's no limit on the number of people that will attend, but you'll get a reminder email, and we'll know on our side just who's coming, so we can have a general sense of how big the session's going to be.
Okay, great. A couple more, Chad, on the white label outreach. One person asked, is it possible to make sure the client is not included on the outreach task? That's a good question, and actually it's not possible. They have to be included because it's the way our system works, and we initiate that outbound call right from that task, precisely for the reason that some of the other folks were asking, how do I find the full log and ultimately the recording? We have to have a way to keep that organized so they are actually on the task. But we're very strict in terms of what kind of notes we put in there, so it's very antiseptic, very clean, and we would never mention anything you wouldn't want mentioned in there. I think that's a good segue, Chad, into, I know this was asked in the last webinar, what if you get a client who's disgruntled or unhappy or wants to talk about billing and other things, and you'll see if you read our script, we're very clear on that. We say, oh, we're really sorry that's happened, sounds like a very important issue. Let me take a message and I'll have Joe, insert your name here because they got it right on their screen, call you back, in which case you will get a task routed to you from the publishing coordinator team. Chad, here's another one here that says, what kind of message do you leave if you don't reach the person at my client?
Adam, I'm going to let you take that one.
Okay, yeah, I've been in on these calls. So again, we've got that in the script, but it basically says, hi, I'm Adam. I'm calling from ABC Agency to do your press release, and I was hoping to grab 10 minutes of your time. Could you please call me back at, and we read the number that's on our screen, which, as Chad said earlier, currently is a common 888 number, but in the very near future will be a personalized number for you that can be in your area code. I just need 10 minutes of your time to talk over some ideas for a press release, or in the case of a business quote, we've got a story that's running today. We'd really like to hear from you about it so we can work you in. Give us a call back at your convenience. Chad, here's one for you. Someone said, how much will it cost for resellers to post to PR Web?
It's going to be somewhere right around $50 is what we're looking at. We are in the final negotiations of trying to get the price down, but again, the retail value on the advanced package that we're looking at offering is around $249, so it's going to be a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I second that. We got a few other comments saying that message you're leaving sounds really good. Thanks for the feedback. And again, on all this stuff, we're open to your feedback. We want you to jump into the forum or come to the 4 o'clock trainings and let us know how it's working. We're really committed to doing a very high-quality job on this, which is why I've been sitting in on the calls, working with the publishing coordinators every day, very, very closely on this, because we want this to be very successful. We know it can have a tremendous impact on your retention in a positive way, help them feel like there's more services happening, as well as help their SEO and their branded mentions and their PR all at the same time. So just can't stress enough how strong we think this program is.
Well, excellent, Adam. And again, we do appreciate all the feedback, and I've been on a lot of phone calls talking to people about the changes that we're making. We're very excited about them. We're starting to see some of the results. That's really what we wanted to do today, was to share what we're seeing and share that some of the fears about these outreach contacts, we've been able to have good feedback and good interactions. As Adam said, it's not perfect. We don't always reach people. We actually had accelerated some of the phone system work because we thought that was just a really important feature to have, to be able to have that prompt in front of our publishing coordinator to know who they were. So we're really making some serious investments here in time and effort. I know actually that was a sort of a late night project that we were all working on, trying to get that phone system put together. So we're excited about it. We hope you're excited. And again, if you have any questions that are training related, please join us on our 4 o'clock phone call or give your account manager a call. We'd be happy to talk more about it. So thanks, everyone, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks for coming. It's great talking to you today. Take care.